Had a little listen to his podcast, huh?
Dude, it's educational. And besides, I've been wanting to listen to this one.
Welcome to Idling in the Impala, a podcast by and for lovers of supernatural and the fanfiction it inspires. Before we begin, just want to remind you to follow us wherever you listen so you don't miss any episodes or bonus content. If you love what we do and want an easy way to show your support, please consider leaving us a positive, that's all the stars, rating on your favourite listening platform. It helps SPN and fanfic lovers find us and share in the fun. I'm Kasey.
I'm Sandra, and there's a ton of other ways to be a part of our supernatural road trip, from joining our Discord to fueling up the Impala with a Ko-fi donation or membership. Check out this episode description or idlingintheimpala.com. But on today's episode, we are doing another Tags and Tropes. So
Yay.
This one I've been wanting to do for a while, but when I started doing my research, I was like, oh, the one thing that I'm focusing on is not the only thing that we're going to have to talk about with this particular topic. So the topic today is body swap and also gender swap. And I was more interested in the body swap part. And then I was like, oh, there's a whole other thing I forgot about. But again, this is where we tackle a fanfic category, a genre, or a subject matter. We're going to break down some stats. We're going to share our overall thoughts and discuss a few fics that are prime examples of the topic. At the end of all that, or somewhere in between, we'll let you know whether it's a give or a hard pass for us. So, as always, we try to follow your kink is not my kink, and that's okay motto. We may interject our personal squicks about any given tag or trope, but it's in no way meant to yuck anybody's yum. I was interested in doing this, Kasey, when I presented body swap. Did you immediately think gender swap? Or were you just like, okay, whatever?
I didn't immediately think gender swap, think body swap.
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't. But I didn't really think anything, to be fair. I was like, yeah, okay, that's something that we can discuss, because it just wasn't really like in my remit, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But then you came back to me and you were like, hi, real quick. There's so many gender swap things. Are you going to be okay with this? And I was like, yeah, it'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
I've come to peace with the fact there's not a magic wand in real life that could fix these things.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess when I think of body swap, I probably do think of gender swap more, because that is more of what I read.
Yeah.
Is, like always female Sam or Dean Winchester, or, hexes, witch curses, trickster interference, demons, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
That just seem like I don't seek it out, but I don't not read it either.
Yeah. That's the thing for me too, is that I've read them, but I don't know if I've really, like, thinking about it now, I can't say I've read something where like the body swap is just Sam and Dean. You know what I mean? Like, without there being a gender. So I don't know why I didn't immediately, put those two things together, that you really can't talk about one without the other. Because I feel like if we talked about body swap, we would inevitably get into gender swap. And I was like, we kind of got to talk about both. So, and I didn't realize that until I started doing my research, which sounds very ridiculous, but
we're professionals, guys. I always think, and that, like, this is obviously, it's not right. But when you say to me body swap, I don't think like Sam and Dean swap bodies. I think of the tags and tropes we did about transformation, where Sam and Dean are swapped into other creatures. Like, body swap to me, like, I'm thinking of, yeah, Have a Great Dean, or Toil and Trouble.
Okay.
Stuff like that. But
so
that's
more of the transformation stuff that would kind of be like, okay.
Because, like, and I, like, don't get me wrong, I've read some really great fics where Sam and Dean have literally swapped bodies, but Freaky Friday is not the first place my brain goes by any stretch of imagination.
And I think that for me is probably like from my, I don't know. I just remember, like, I remember the original Freaky Friday movie that I think had Jodie Foster in it, that I think then was redone by like Lindsay Lohan and
Lindsay
Jamie Lee Curtis and stuff like that.
I think they've remade that as well, but still with Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis.
I think it's like a sequel. So I think there's like a daughter. I think there's a daughter involved. I think Lindsay Lohan.
Right. If that happens, if Freaky Friday happens to your family twice, you're negligent.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm sorry. You're negligent.
That's actually like related to one of the fics that I've that I just like reread for this. We should do a little bit of a like, well, wait a minute, now we've like totally confused everybody. So what does fan lore, the fan lore page, consider body swap? So body swap is a plot device or a story trope involving two or more characters switching their physical bodies by magical, scientific, mystical, or unspecified means. The device is used in canon and fan fiction alike, and fanfic may expand upon canonical instances of body swap.
So the obvious supernatural reference is Swap Meet, which is one of my favorite episodes, but that is a canonical example of body swap.
Yeah, and there's actually something in the next like section that actually talks about it, where they actually like they mentioned that particular episode. Is it swap meet or meet swap? Because
I always thought it was Swap Meet.
Which
but
one
the
is
fan
it?
that says me, hang on. We're right there, ladies and gentlemen, and NB pals. We're gonna fucking because I know it's.
I swear I took this straight from fan lore, so I don't know if somebody just mixed up the name.
Okay, Google says Swap Meet. Wiki says Swap Meet.
Okay.
IMDb says Swap Meet.
Okay, so I
I'm
think
sorry.
I think there's an issue that has to be. I might have to say, hey, there's a problem here. With every sort of like story trope or plot device, like the end means is it gets the characters that are involved in this magical switcheroo to sort of like realize there's realization, and then do they act on it? And usually it's like attraction, attention, something, you know, that they haven't been able to come to terms with or be open and honest about yet, and then they are able to do the thing.
Mm-hmm.
They've also said it can also be used to reform a character by forcing them to understand the other character's perspective as a lesson.
I've never read that. I'm not saying it doesn't exist.
Yeah,
I've just never read it.
Yeah. But in terms of like the related tropes or genres, and this is where I was like, oh, we've got to talk about this. Is gender swap.
Sandra got this far and went, oh shit.
Gender swap, gender fuck, transmigration. Transmigration is a whole other thing. I don't think we're gonna like get into that too much. But there is a section about body swap in canon versus fanfic. And again, they reference Supernatural's episode Swap Meet.
Or meet, swap, whatever.
The trope was used to comic effect when, of course, what happened, Kasey, in this episode, which is one of your favorites.
Sam gets swapped with a teenage boy. And he's obviously in this teenage boy's body, desperately trying to figure out what the fuck has gone on. And what the fuck was that? What was that kid's name? I want to say Dale, but I don't think it was.
Gary.
Gary.
Yeah,
Gary.
It's Gary.
That's it. He's living the life.
He's having the best time. The cold open
He's
is very
having
good.
alcohols.
Yeah.
And he would love to do the sex with you, random woman. And yeah, the joke of the story is that Dean doesn't notice.
He's almost like, oh, Sam's in a good mood.
Yeah, this is great. See, the thing is, Gary as Sam is it's very cringe, as it's supposed to be. It's a teenage boy, you know, trying to masquerade as an adult. The humor for me is Sam as an adult having to pretend to be a teenage boy, and getting lactose intolerant.
And he gets
he's gluten intolerant, isn't he?
But he's so moody.
He's real toast.
He leans into the moodiness so well. Like when he's stuck in the situation, I feel like he just gets the whole teenage moodiness and he just runs with it. And he's like very much like, this is not where I want to be. I hate all of this. Like that kind of a thing.
Is there not? I remember it's a scene where he's like rifling around under Gary's bed or something, trying to find like whatever witchy shit Gary's got hidden. And they're calling him for breakfast and he's like, leave me alone. Mm-hmm. And I swear to God, there's a wanking joke in there. I swear to God, he says something about masturbating, like to himself, not to anybody, but like,
well, I think
like
he
a joke to himself.
Doesn't he see something under Gary's bed? I think, I don't know if it's a magazine or I feel like he comes across a magazine in there, and I think he makes some sort of a joke or something. I think maybe.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Also, though, like fucking sue me. He looks really cute in that hoodie.
He does look cute. He does look cute in it. He really does. No, I think that episode has grown on me a lot. Like I watch it every time I watch it again. I find something I think more endearing about it, and then also just even the plot that they weave into it also is like, you know, you really take the time to like I think absorb more of it.
And from a thirsty bitch perspective, we get to see Gary flexing Sam's muscles in the mirror, and that's very nice as well. I'm here for that. And actually, I like him. I like him in that in that silly hoodie. He's really cute, and yeah, he's like grumpy, and it's adorable. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah. I think the only way they sort of contrast it is that fanfic, the device is rarely used just for plot purposes or comedic effect. That in many fanfic examples of Bodyswap, the idea of bodily autonomy and consent is explored within the story. While in some stories it is glossed over or ignored, many authors recognize the dub-con or non-con nature of using another person's body for sex. They reference one story, and I don't know if you've ever heard this. There's got to be a punchline in here somewhere by...
It rings a bell.
Lyra Wing. It's a well-known supernatural Winchester story. So it's going to be in the doc. If people are interested, they can look that up, or they can let us know if they've read it, Jackie. Yeah, like for me, again, because it's just so, it fits so well in canon. Like it's something that could happen, right? Like it's just like, it opens up so many opportunities. But I don't think, I mean, and tell me if I'm wrong, like, and I feel like a lot of people are probably like, there was never any body swap between the boys on the show, unless I'm totally like blanking out on something super obvious. Like they never did that. And I'm kind of like, God, that would have been. I don't think
Dean ever got body swapped into anybody either.
I think the only thing with Dean would have been the de-aging that happened in the About.
Yeah, does that count?
No, that's different. No, that's de-aging. It's a totally different thing. So I can't think of him. See, the only thing I would think of, and it's not body swap, it's more like personality swap or situational swap.
If you mentioned regarding Dean.
No. I was going to go, It's a Terrible Life, but that's not, they didn't body swap. They just like.
Yeah, that's AU. Yeah.
So. Yeah, so I think it's really, I can't think of one where they body swapped.
No, I can't think of Sam and Dean body swap.
Or even Dean getting put into
body swap by anybody.
Yeah. So
let us know. Let us know if we've forgotten something.
Yeah, something blatantly obvious again, because it can happen, most likely. So I was going to get into some of like the stats and stuff. So when I did the research on AO3, this was back in November. So it was November 15th. Body swap is a canonical tag. So that's a master tag for a group of synonyms. And there is even a subtag titled Dean Winchester and Sam Winchester swap bodies, which I did not know until I looked into it a little bit more. I was like, this is interesting. So there are over 16 million fics on AO3. The number of fics with related body swap tags across the board, all fandoms, is over 13,000. Which to me, I don't know. I would think more, but no, I guess it's not. I guess it's not that, it's not up there with a lot of other things in terms of like tropes that are used. Supernatural,
tiny amount,
has about 300,000 total fics, and 310 of those are tagged with body swap. And again, I had to break this up. There's body swap, and then we'll get into gender swap. Supernatural RPF, there's about 23,000 fics. There's only 9. So again, kind of makes sense. I would think this would be a thing. And there'll be a link to, you can go to the actual page on AO3 in the description, and you can kind of like figure some stuff out if you're so interested.
Yeah.
But I just did a couple of I did ratings, warnings, categories, characters just for body swap. And I didn't know if there was anything that stood out to you in particular.
I was surprised by the amount of underage sex. I don't know, that jumped out to me. It was like 13 of the 310 were tagged as underage sex. And I don't know, something about that just jumped out at me.
Yeah, and the creator chose not to use archive warnings was pretty high. But again, and I don't know if this is because some people are debating between rape / non-con and the use of it, but there were only 7 that are listed as non-con. And I mean, I guess it does probably depend on what's actually happening in the body swap. If something is not, if something sexual is not happening, then they probably wouldn't need it. But I don't know, the stuff I've read about, I would think that I would have thought that would be higher in terms of warnings, but not. Yeah, a lot of like nothing really stood out. Again, like characters, it's Dean, Sam, Cass, Gabe, Bobby, Rowena, Reader, John, Winchester, Crowley, original female characters. But I didn't really see like relationships. It's Destiel or Wincest at the top. And then
Destiel outpacing Wincest by
quite a bit,
wide
by
margin.
double.
Yeah.
And then I didn't really see anything else I think really like.
Nothing leaping out to me, no.
Mm-hmm. Then this is where we get into you hit body swap. 2 paragraphs in, gender swap. And I was like, okay, we've got to talk about this now. It has its own page on Fanlore. Again, we've put it in there. It's tagged so you can get to it if you want to. Gender swap is the trope where one or more characters switch binary sexes, such as depicting a male character as a cis woman. This is a term, right? It covers a lot of different tropes. I had not heard of gender fuck. I don't know if you'd heard that.
I have.
That tag.
I have, but in the context of drag queens.
Okay.
Not in the context of fanfiction. But yes, I'm familiar with the term.
Okay. So it's basically like a swap of the character's sex. It's carried out by something, again, magical, technological device. So it's popular in sci-fi or fantasy stories. And then in most of the gender swap stories, the character is restored to their original sex by the end, although some stories consciously subvert this trope. Alternatively, some gender swap fic and most gender swap art involves depicting a binary gendered character as a cis person of a different gender. And again, there's all these other terminologies that go with gender swap that we talked about. Gender swap used for 2 tropes. So like, again, magical, gender sex change, and 2, always a different gender. So always a Sam, like always a girl
female.
Sam, or always a female Sam.
Dean. Dean or Sam,
And then gender bend is, I guess, the gender fuck.
That word.
Refers to miscellaneous gender play not covered by a more specific term.
Mm-hmm.
Again, gender fuck, overarching term for fan work. Yeah, what would gender bend?
Again, I would, and I am only speaking for myself, I'm not speaking for the community at large, but I would think gender bend is probably being, like, the concept, the word is probably being replaced by gender non-conforming.
Okay.
Because that's like, to my understanding of it, is like you're bending gender, you're playing with it, you're, male wearing women's inverted commas clothes or whatever.
Right.
But like in the UK, bender is a slur.
Okay.
So I hate that word. But
Okay.
I would like again, for me, it's not a word that I would have ever used, but to describe it, I would use the more recent terminology of gender non-conforming.
Gotcha. And I don't even know if that's mentioned in, because it's been a while since I looked at this doc, but yeah, there's a whole breakout about like the criticism or the discussion about like these terms and uses and updating them. How do you use them? What makes the most sense? Because again, like the main criticism is that you're assuming that both sex and gender are binaries, that sex and gender necessarily coincide. So it does say gender bending caught on in the 2010s. So some people, I think, should some people are saying it should be called maybe sex swap, since what is being changed are the visible sex characteristics. How do you see that? Do you think that that's kind of another, would be a better option for the physical change?
I do think it would be a better word, but I think it's very difficult because, like, especially in the supernatural fandom, we're not talking about characters of ambiguous gender. We're not talking about characters that live outside the gender binary. Sam and Dean are cis men. So it's difficult because this breaks down into a whole conversation about, well, what makes a woman and what makes a man and things like that. But it's hard. Yeah. I think a more accurate term would be sex swap. Yes, certainly. But there is inherently a more societal thing. Like if you just change someone's genitals, for example, like in Runaway Dreamers, saga epic. Sandman. It's a spell that just changes male genitals to female genitals. And that's, that doesn't change anything about the way a person presents to the outside world. But if you change the whole body, that, like you give a, like an AMAB person, breasts and, feminine hips and a feminine figure and stuff like that. You change the whole way that they present themselves to the world, even if that way does not align with the way that they still see themselves in the head. And I think that sort of something that's kind of creeping up now and should very much become more talked about is your gender from a societal perspective. And that's by that I mean you don't owe society anything. If they say you're not gender enough, eat them. What I mean is a non-binary person or a trans person, unless they've had the bestest fucking parents in the world, they will have been raised within the gender binary because that's what people do. So, like, take me, for example, an NB person. Societally, I am still a woman because I was raised female. All of my formative experiences are through the lens of womanhood, and you can't erase that, I don't think. So it's like your societally Sam and Dean are men, but if you put them into a female body, that's gonna it's more than just physical sex at that point.
That's what I think is the interesting thing about like a couple of the ones that I've read too, is like, again, like how they're viewed by society immediately shifts and changes. And there's like, they're getting that aha, like sometimes they get that aha moment, or, getting the chance to understand, what it's like to walk around in a female body, is a little bit like, it's, and then the experience that they get outside is different. And I find those, like there's one in particular that I've read that I found interesting, and I thought was interesting critique, on like the aha of it, that they kind of get in some of those situations. So I think that it depends too. Yeah. Like, what are you going for in the story? And then what do you end up, maybe like, is anything revelatory outside of just say the inherent, maybe like if there's an attraction or relationship between the two people and nothing else is talked about in the story, which is possible. Like I'm sure there's a lot of stories that are just like that, but I don't think I've come across any that do a gender swap that don't hit that, or that sex swap that don't kind of like have that bit in it. And I probably just haven't read enough of them, but I do seem to like it. So I should probably read more of them just to see how that works itself out in an author's hands differently in each scenario. The other one that you mentioned and we talked about was Always Been a Girl one.
I don't mind those.
I didn't realize I liked those as much until I started reading them. And I remember reading one, I think, very, very long time ago, and not understanding. I'm like, why? What? Like, why are we doing this? And then it was like, I'm like, oh, this is, and then reading them more. I think it's J. Jupiter or something. Like, I used to love this writer, and I think I have a couple of their things bookmarked. They didn't do a lot of supernatural stuff, but one I think was always female Sam. I think that was the first thing I think I've ever read of this trope. And
I don't mind the trope, but it has much, I don't want to say rigid, but the positions, the tops and bottoms, as it were, seem to be much more set in those fics
much
than
more traditional.
Well, maybe it's the fics I'm reading, but if you have like if just one of them is Always Been a Girl, that's different. But if you have both of them be female, you'll have Dean being like a butch, masculine girl, and Sam being much more femme.
Okay.
And the D word gets thrown around a fair bit for Dean, which I And it's not my place to say whether we should use it or not, because it doesn't apply to me, but I'm going to censor it just in case it,
Yeah.
But I don't know, just like, can we play with something a little bit different? I don't see.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Sam's body shape, because he's like a little bit leaner than Dean, even though he's like bulkier, like he's longer, so it achieves the effect of him being a little bit leaner, or if it is that Dean is solid and husky and fabulous built, but I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the like slightly leaner nature of Sam, or the hair, or something like that. But Sam is always the pretty femme, makeup wearing, skirt wearing girl.
This
and
would be
Dean is
interesting,
still flannel and leather jackets and short
I've
hair.
never read an Always a Girl Dean, and I'm realizing that now. So that says a lot about, I think, why I
have a couple.
gravitate.
I have a couple to you.
Yeah,
that, I don't know that you'll like them, but
no, that's so that's what I'm thinking about too. Because like again, like, and when we get into the whole like incest situation and stuff like that, like I think the configuration of it, I think for me, like, because like Dean and Sam, but then Always a Girl, I have not ever read an Always a Girl Dean, so I think I should try to read one and see how I perceive that. Because again, it's like, it's the tradition, right? Like it falls into this weird space, I think, that fits my probably like Venn diagram of like, you might like this based off of all of these things that you circle. But yeah, I've read a lot of Always a Girl Sam that I really do enjoy, and I think a lot of the time,
like Palo Alto, love, don't you?
I loved that one, because I think it's because too it's another way of viewing Dean.
I would be, I'm going to out Sandra here. I would be really interested, actually, you must come back to me with this. As a het woman, how do you feel faced with a female Dean? Maybe the reason, like, you've not kind of encountered it in the wild and you've only looked at always female Sam is because you're like, nope, he's a boy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, like I said, I haven't.
I would be very interested to see.
I don't think I've ever even
attraction.
Like come across.
Changes.
Well, here's the thing though, like, and I think this has to do with archetypes and types of characters that I think I gravitate towards. And I think I mentioned this. I can't remember the name of it now. Arcane. It was a animated show on Netflix. It's follows.
Oh yeah.
It's like the League of Legends game or something like that. I can't remember. It's not Violet. I can't remember.
I don't know, bro. I haven't watched it.
Okay, so anyway, it's two sisters, right? The older sister is so Dean, and I was like, I love you. I love you. And it's just like, so I think there's a lot to say about that character type, that we always get back to if it still feels like the character that I'm in. So if it still feels like Dean, if I'm reading it, I would probably still love the character of Dean. So I don't know. I do have to, this is a thing. Kasey's going to give me some suggestions, and listeners, if you have any suggestions for always a female Dean, send them to me. I will give them a try.
Send them to Sandra. We're conducting a
brain experiment. To
a
see
very
what it does.
stringent scientific experiment. What happens when you give a heterosexual woman her ideal man in female form?
Yeah, we'll see.
She's still vibing with it.
Am I still vibing with it? We'll see. But yeah, I would hope. I mean, I would hope if the character is written as authentically as Dean as possible, that I wouldn't necessarily
can't promise
have
you that the ones I'm giving you are authentic, Dean. I'm so sorry. But the ones I'm giving you will have tags that will lead you to other Dean fics where you might find authenticity.
This will be interesting.
No, this is one of those dark parts of my book about, so no, I wouldn't show anybody. I'm embarrassed.
So then there's they also talk about, again, there's more controversy and criticism of the trope. There's some other talks about like trans issues. There's a comment in there too about like, see the author switch into new pronouns to match the new body or depict the character enthusiastically trying out their new body, often sexually. So there's a whole comment about that. A new body means learning to use it, first of all, and then all the dysphoria that comes with it. And we've talked about this. We actually have, I'll link the episode. It's the reader insert gender neutral discussion that Kasey and I had that I thought was really insightful. And we got a lot of really valuable comments from authors who've written gender neutral fics that I think would kind of help with maybe like fleshing out this story in more detail than we probably have time for. But I think one of the other issues is that gender swap is also commonly criticized for focusing on cis-sexist and often misogynist I did not know that was a word. Cis-sexist and often misogynist stereotypes of perceived gender differences, and for having characters immediately adopt a conservative gender. So, yeah, without question. So, like example, men having to learn how to shave their legs when their bodies change, even though they could just as easily choose not to. And again, I think that comes into societal expectations and all these other things that people are pushing boundaries on, you know, like constantly like trying to figure out like, you know, how do you break out of what's considered expected? I think in a lot of different ways. So there's a reference to it's a story called To Be Restored by Serenity Fails, and a modern take on the swap trope that deals with trans issues, an AU where Castiel is sent back from the empty in season 13 as per canon, but he appears in his female vessel instead of his usual one. Castiel is not a human, and angels in canon are shown to have a different understanding of gender, but this fic can still be read as a trans male or trans masculine interpretation of the character. So it's another one that was in the notes on Fanlore. So now if we take gender swap in AO3, again, it's a canonical tag for gender swap and gender bend. Again, same number of fics. In the fandoms all overall, I didn't do a percentage on this. I forgot to do that in my notes, but it's got 75,000 out of the 16 million. So again, that's, I think, if I go back to, that's a lot higher than just Bodyswap tags. So there's obviously more people interested in writing and digging into this trope. Same thing with Supernatural, over the 300,000, there's about 1,400 fics. So 0.4%. Supernatural RPF, again, always a little bit, there's only 50 in that one. So yeah, I just did Supernatural in general. I don't bother with the RPFs in this because they're too low. It's not worth all my cutting and pasting and doing of the things. But is there anything you noticed maybe in the like the ratings, warnings, categories that the warning tags I feel might be a little bit higher? At least like creator chose not to use archive warnings.
Still a lot of underage sex.
Yeah, and there's the rape non-con again. Like I would think that would be higher, but not. Again, it depends on what's going on in the story. And even under ratings, I mean, they've got teen and up audiences is actually a good percentage of them as well. Not as much as explicit, but it's second in the ratings.
SDL still outpacing Winchester by a fair clip.
Yeah, almost.
Which I suppose that does make sense though, because you can sex swap or fully gender swap, you know, however you want to do it with an angel much easily, because they're not human. So they just take a different vessel, which I think is quite interesting. You know, if you wanted your Cass loving Dean to be hat, you just put Cass in a different vessel. Which I guess goes back to that other fic that I just read that they had like referenced a little bit, like in terms of like the female vessel from like season 13. It's interesting.
So picks, we got a lot of recommendations from, I will say, as soon as I put this one out, people were like, I've got a fic.
Yeah.
So this one was
popular.
I will, once I clean up the sheet, I will link that in this description, because there was one in particular. I don't know if you want to talk about it now, that everybody keeps talking about, that I have not read yet.
I haven't read it.
But you've heard about it too, right? Like
I've
it's
heard
this
about
fic
it,
that just people keep saying, you have to read this fic.
I don't have the sheet open, so I'm really fucking sorry to the author of this, but The Constant Vow, whose author is
Deadly Bride.
Thank you. Yeah, there we go. I've read stuff by Deadly Bride. I just haven't read that one. But yeah, The Constant Vow keeps coming up. It does keep being repeated and keep being recommended.
I mean, it's in my Kindle. It's just one of those things that I keep saying, you know, I've got to read.
It's on my to be read list. I just haven't got there yet. But yeah, no, we again, Sandra's got I don't know why she told me that I have to do this, because I don't have the information. Sandra's got the Google sheet. I thought it was in the document. It's not in the document.
No,
This is
no,
what
I
get
just
for not reading the document.
no, I just thought that because we had talked about it a little bit before. But I mean, so do you know the premise of this story at all, or no?
Something to do with Sam gets turned into lots of different women's.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess I should read it then.
You should. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, bro.
We'll include the doc for people so that if
Yes,
they want to look
we
at,
will.
at the different suggestions,
will.
because there are quite a few. Your picks, you have two.
My picks. So I have this is my magic wand fic. I know that magic wands don't exist in real life. I know that I can't pay a witch or any other magic user to fix my body, but if I could, this is the one. So this is called Genderfuck, and it's by Apex Predator.
Okay.
And in this, Sam is a trans man who gets body swapped into a cis male body. So it's it's not gender swap in any capacity. I guess it would just be body swap. By a witch's curse, a hex, or something. Obviously Sam is thrilled by this. It's Wincest. Dean is also thrilled by this, but it's one of my go back and read comfort fics when the dysphoria gets a little bit too loud, because it's just perfection. It's just great. It's up there with, if you haven't read it, Tomcat it's on AO3 under Ren's archivist, library archivist.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Something. But the original author is Ren, but it's on there under the archivist account, which is a trans male Dean who had top surgery but still has like the genitals that he was born with, and that's it coming together between him and Sam. That's, again, if you could wave a magic wand. I mean, if you could wave a magic wand, you'd fix all of your plumbing, but that's like an achievable magic wand fic. And I go back and I read them when the dysphoria gets too loud. So yeah, but Genderfuck actually has a body swap, Tomcat doesn't. And my other one is I Hope Tomorrow Never Comes, which is by our own lovely fictional Lemons. And the premise of this is Dean sees a fortune teller and gets swapped into Jessica's body a couple of nights before he actually goes to Palo Alto and the fire and everything. So it's Sam and Jess are going out for dinner, and Dean's it's a little bit cracky, Dean's kind of trying to figure out what the fuck is happening, and doesn't quite know how to do female body things. But they, Sam has sex with what he thinks is Jess, and Dean is loving every bit of it. And, as it ends, Dean's sort of like chasing to California to go get Sam. So it's just a tiny little bit just before the start of the series, but it's really, really good.
Okay.
I really like that one.
I'll have to read that one.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, the swapping, like the closest I think I've come to, this is just a favorite of mine because I love everything this person writes. Little Green Plastic Soldiers Have a Break.
I read that one, yeah.
So it's Bodyswap and Genderswap. So the eventual is Dean with Reader, but Sam gets involved in all of the body swapping too. So there's a lot of non-con issues in this that they actually do. In this, they actually like make a point of like talking about some of the non-con issues, like as they're going about it, because it's a witch curses them with a Kit Kat bar in the beginning of it. So they each take a bar, and I think the witch does as well. But then the witch gets killed. Then they wake up the next morning, and it's the readers in Sam's body. Hold on now. The reader's in Sam's body. Sam's in the reader's body. Wait, I'm already confused.
No, it should be. It must be the reader is in Sam's body. Sam's in Dean's body, and Dean's in the reader's body.
No. That doesn't happen till the next day. So again, there's all these different scenarios. Because Dean is, and then it's Sam. Okay, Dean is, and then the next night, Sam's in the reader's body. There's all of these different things. They agree to do like this, not quite an orgy, but like a group sex thing. But there's so many interesting, like, and of course the reader's menstruating when it all happens as well. So the boys are dealing with having to deal with the effects of that. but the readers like loving being in Sam's body and like just the virility and just like, you know, all like the attention and how great it is. But when she ends up in Dean's body, all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm in this thing that I've been wanting for so long, and I like don't even want to look at it or don't even want to like, you know, like get myself in the point where I'm so close to something that then I can never have again. Then they get it all figured out. But then the reader, like, again, so many like questions as to why you would like push fate like this, but they're like, well, you know, we're gonna take the bull by the horns. This couldn't happen again. She buys Kit Kats for everybody. She gives Sam his own Kit Kat bar. And then as she's talking to Dean about like what just happened, they share a Kit Kat bar. So then when it switches again, they're back in the bunker. Now it's Dean is in the reader's body and reader is in Dean's body. The pronoun usage is you need so many times to just stop and think who's in whose body, but it's
Who's
done.
Who? Yeah.
But, so that part I think is a struggle because of what Little Green Plastic Soldier was attempting. But the scenarios, they do get very cracky, but then there's also a lot of, again, like they talk about, well, if we're going to do this, are you okay with me doing this with this person? Because I think Sam ends up, when Sam's in the reader's body, Sam ends up having sex with a girl. And then Dean and the reader are like, Dean's in Sam's body when he's having sex with a woman, and the reader's in Dean's body when she's having sex with a woman. So it's a very
I'm
like
confused.
mind-trippy thing. But it's like, I don't know. I really loved it. I read it again. I said, let me read it again and see if I like it as much as I did. And I think the outcome of it, of what they are open and honest with each other towards the end, again, gets them to the, oh, you know, we've been treating each other, you know, we've been on each other's nerves all the time because really, like, you know, we do care about each other. We do want more. We just don't know how to get to it. And then they get to it. And I think it's great.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites. That it was one of the first ones I've ever read when I first got into fanfic, supernatural stuff. So it's always like one of those things I think about again. And I was like, let me read this again. And I read it again. And I like it. I like it a lot. There's And She Was, which is a gender swap. It's a short one. Sam gets turned into a girl by witches. It's by Quick Reaver. I also podfic this one. I really liked it because it switches back and forth between Dean and Sam POV, and it gives a little bit of the, you know, what it's like for Sam to be in this body, and it kind of hints a little bit at the end that, you know, like there could be something maybe later on that, like, you know, the boys are maybe going to try to figure out, you know, when things aren't this crazy kind of a situation. So I think it like leans into, it's definitely like Gencest and Weird Cest, and I think all of those things, but kind of out there that way. And then there's two Always a Girl ones that I'm recommending. Again, Kasey talked about it. Palo Alto Verse by Compo 67. It's a 4-part series. Again, it's another one that I podficked. I loved Sam in this. Sam was such a great, and it's all Sam's POV. And it's the struggle that Sam has in a hunter family. It's a lot of the same issues that Sam struggles with John, I think, and just like, John's kind of like that shadow that he always is in the story, and how that relationship with Dean started early, breaking away for a reason. I think that's kind of a lot of people come back to this whole Stanford era, like the reasons behind Sam leaving. Like sometimes they're more layered than just the issue he had with John, right? Like it's more of a thing of like breaking away for other reasons, maybe coming to the surface. This one was really interesting, and I loved it. It just rides this little wave of, you know, maybe Dean trying to get out of the life since Sam had gotten out of it.
It's cute. It's very cute.
It hits all my buttons. It's one of those fics where I loved it. The other one's another shorter one, and it's just one I read recently, Like a Dolphin's Belly. It's Always a Girl, Sam, by Apple Juice.
I haven't read this one.
It's basically just Dean shaves Sam, and then, but it's very like the razzing of like the younger sibling, you know, they've already got this relationship. They're already, I guess, a couple, you know, so, and Sam knows how to tease Dean in a lot of different ways. And I love that dynamic that I think kind of was still there, you know, the younger sibling dynamic. And, yeah, it's short, very hot, and very sexy. Apple just did a great job with that. So
I haven't read that one, so that's on my list.
again, it's interesting because I feel like we are again reading things for different reasons. It's like we write.
Yeah,
for different
they were
reasons.
really different places there, weren't we?
Overall, I mean, for you, I know you said sometimes it's like, you know, there's a time and a place for you when you're going to maybe read this type of fic. But I mean, are you pretty okay with it? Do you enjoy it?
I am pretty okay with it. There was a like in the document there is, you know, some really, really thoughtful comments and you know, thoughts about issues with this trope, like as it pertains to the trans community and things like that. And, you know, author switch new pronouns, the person trying enthusiastically trying out the new body, often sexually, and the actual sort of lived reality of trans people that being in the wrong body is awful and it's a problem, and you know, you don't want to look at yourself in the mirror, and you're certainly not horny about it. That is not my experience of reading this trope, because I always take it like I don't relate it back to my own experience. And again, this is just me personally, and I'm certainly not talking for the entire trans community here. But I'd like kind of treat it like a little bit cracky all the time. And I, you know, like I'm not really reading fics where it's a big like introspective on gender and sex and things like that. And if I am, the ones that I'm reading treat it much differently. But for me, it's like that old kind of like high school joke of, oh, you know, what if you were turned into a girl? Oh, we'll just play with my tits all day. You know, like that's kind of how I view it, you know? So characters just going, oh, well, guess I have tits now. Like, yeah, guess you do. You know, it's completely fictional for me. Almost in the same way that like reading J2 RPF is like, it's a complete alternate universe,
which I couldn't get for the longest time until I actually started reading it. Because again, from the outside in, I'm like, well, it's J2.
Yeah, but then like,
but then you get it. You're like, oh.
You get it, and you're like, okay, this is not my J2. This is a completely fictionalized version of J2. And that's kind of how I treat this. But again, I am just one person. I certainly do not speak for anybody else, and I can absolutely see why other members of the trans community would have huge issues with this as a trope. So I'm not going to say it's a gib for me, because I'm not like that rabid about it, but I'm, you know, it's not a hard pass either. It's fine. You know, I don't have strong feelings either way. But I will say, if it is something that you want to write about, just tread gently, you know, because what's funny to you may not necessarily be funny to your reader. If you're writing a crack fic, state that very clearly, that nothing in it is to be taken seriously, and you are literally just writing fiction for the sake of writing fiction. And I mean, you're probably still going to upset people, but if we never wrote fiction for the sake of fiction, we wouldn't have anything.
And I mean, like I said, you can't write one thing that pleases everyone anyway. There's no way. Like there's not that magic pen that does that, I think. You know, and it's I'm seeing that. I'm trying not to tangent us off, but I'm seeing that a lot now. Like, I don't know if it's the youth just having there's no fucking concept of reality or whatever. But like, I'm seeing the youth, and this is across all literary media, not just supernatural fan fiction, but they'll see like a horror story or something like that, or like a crime thriller, and be like, oh my god, you must be so fucked up to write that. Oh my god, like, is that the kind of thing that you enjoy? Do you like go out and kill people in your spare time? I'm like, bro, baby, no, it's fiction. It's just for fun, for pretend, you know? Oh my god, why would you even want to think about that? But like, because sometimes you have to think about fucked up shit. Because if we didn't think about fucked up shit, we'd all be really boring. Is it just being too literal? Like, is there no ability for imagination anymore?
I think that's it. Yeah, it's a very lack of imagination, and like, unfortunately as well, I think the writing advice, write what you know, has the meaning of that has got severely lost, massively lost over the last little period of time, and it's like, oh well, if you're writing about a serial killer and you write what you know, you must be a serial killer. Like, no, bro, I'm in possession of an imagination. I can imagine a serial killer.
I wonder, too, if it's just the fact that, like, there's the ability to get so much information. Writing what you know becomes, well, I can just find out. what I think I want to write about, rather than this is something I've experienced. And I think when people say write what you know, it comes down to more of the person to person aspect, or the like a moment, right? And that you expand that into another universe, or a scenario that maybe, and you expand into another universe, or you fashion a story around a what if. Yeah, I don't know. That's a really interesting question.
I think for me, it's like you and I both started out writing self-insert fanfiction when we were younger. That's write what you know. And you put, like, you're still your own main character at that point. And obviously I took a long break from writing before I came back. But when I came back, I was writing reader insert. And it's always me. You know, when I'm writing it, hi, I'm the reader, it's me. But without that kind of grounding, I would imagine it's very difficult then. Like, I wouldn't be able to write Wincest without that grounding in, okay, what is my author voice? How do I tell my stories? And once you've got that, you can then go on with different characters, but you've got to talk to yourself before you find your voice, I think. That's my interpretation of write what you know. Just an absolute lack of, like, literary understanding, because everything's 60 seconds or less. TikTok, shorts,
and I think
reels.
that has a lot to do with, I think more people are talking about media literacy and different things like that, and understanding, like, how people are ingesting everything now. Like, it's just brains, like you said, like, brains are getting rewired, like, in real time. Like, you know, like, I mean, I think, you know, my brain too, like, you know, it's like, I try to imagine life now without the internet, and, like, could I go back to the Encyclopedia Britannica days? I'm sure I could. It would be a learning curve that it would take a lot of untangling and putting me back together again in a spot where, you know, I remember those days, and I can't necessarily think, you know, I mean, I think we're lucky and cursed, you know, to kind of have just a computer in our pocket, you know, like, you know, that we didn't have. Even really, you could say probably, I don't know, 15 years ago, like, you know, like, I mean, because that was,
that is
like, you know, YouTube and stuff like got really big, and, like, social media got really big, and, like, Twitter and all the things started to just, like, take over. But I feel like that's, like, a time period where, like, 15 years ago was different.
That's exactly the timeline, because I got my first smartphone, which was like an iPhone 4 or something, just after my eldest was born. And I was 14 years ago. You know, before that, no. Yeah,
it still took some work to. I think the imagination,
and like I said, that was
the
first smartphone. So that certainly wasn't the entire internet in your pocket. That was just the first. If you think of a smartphone, like first touchscreen phone, almost, you know, first phone without buttons, like that kind of thing. It was a huge deal. And now we are literally carrying the world around in our pocket. And that's, you know, that's great, because it's all there. I can be watching a movie. I was watching The Grinch, the Tim Curry version of The Grinch, with my husband earlier on today. And I was looking at the mayor of Whoville, whatever his fucking name is. And I was looking at him going, is that Zachariah from Supernatural? And I looked at my husband and I was like, is that Cat Fuller? And he was like, I see what you mean, but I don't think it is. And both of us pulled out, you know, phones, tablets to Google it. It's not, it turns out. Somebody totally different. But I was looking at it going, okay, well.
If you're not given a reason to have to use your imagination, then maybe you just think everything's just got to be writing this because you know it, or you believe this, or you feel this, or you.
I think the devil's advocate, insofar as the debate technique, is very much being diminished now. Nobody sees anybody else's side, you know, nobody's willing to think about anybody else's side. But I will stake the last 20p in my wallet that the advent of TikToks and YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, stuff like that immediate 60 seconds or less to grab your attention, and it's quick fire, you just scroll, that has done untold damage to but honestly everybody, because I know my attention span's gone down significantly. But the like my kids' generation, like my eldest, obviously he has a phone, and that's all he does. just fucking scrolls YouTube constantly. The damage, like, I don't know how you get that back. It's damaging all of us, but the kids that are raised on that kind of instant gratification media, you know, like 5-10 years ago, we used to joke that kids didn't know what ads were. It's way more serious than that now. You know, we were like, oh, the kids don't know the worry of hearing it's on and having to yeet themselves over the back of the sofa from the other room because the TV show's back on. And if you didn't piss during the ad break, well, that was the end of that story.
Yeah, and now the problem is you're watching stuff with ads, and what are you doing while the ads are on? You're on your phone.
You're scrolling your phone, yeah. Or you're recording the TV so you can fast forward through the ads, or you're paying the corporations to not have the ads. It's a thing, but well, we went off on one there. But yes, no, you are not gonna. Even if you like set out and you're like, this is for fun, this is crack, this is just. I just wanted to play with some dolls. You are going to upset somebody because everything upsets somebody. And there will probably inevitably be somebody be like, oh my God, this is my lived experience. You're taking the piss out of it.
Write fan fiction to bug people. That's basically the mantra.
That's not going to be the title of this episode. Yeah. No, I'm not saying to write fan fiction to bug people. I'm just saying
you need to come to the table if you're going to write fan fiction, and with the realization that you are not going to write something that everybody likes. You are going to get pushback somewhere. Yeah, there's going to be.
You have to come to the keyboard and go. Someone somewhere is going to be unhappy about this.
If I share this, there's somebody somewhere may have an issue with what I've written. Yeah,
because that nuance of this is a fictional story based on no real people living or dead is gone now, and everybody fucking assumes that you're just like, oh my God, you hate trans people, oh my God, you hate this. You're like, no, I'm just writing a fun story for fun. But yeah, my advice would be, if you're gonna write a sex swap, gender swap, cis swap, whatever you want to call it, tread careful. And if you just want to write, hey, they fuck us girls, because I think that's cool that they fuck us girls, just probably put that in your offer notes. Just be like, this is a huge AU. I'm not trying to say anything about the trans community, the non-binary community. This is just for fun. And just accept that there's going to be somebody that hates that. But if you wrote a cis male and cis male Sam and Dean, somebody would have an issue with who bottomed. So you can't win, really.
Yeah.
Someone's always going to have an issue. Do not be deterred in your creative journeys. Somebody will always have an issue, but just take
bit of a little time, I think, too. Like, what's the reasoning behind it? What do you want to explore? What are you trying to say?
And if what you want to explore is, I just think it would be neat if they were girls and they fucked, that's fucking fine. You don't have to justify that. But if you want to write something a little bit more nuanced,
tag it that way. Like, I think when we come back to the tags and tropes again, like, there's probably a lot of fics that are out there that might not be tagged in a way that, if somebody's looking for these, they might not find them. And again, there's a lot of nuance especially in this type of tag, and how it breaks out even between body swap and gender swap in and of itself. Like they kind of intersect, overlay, doing a little more digging about what is this fic? What is this fic that I'm writing? The tags can help, I think, with that, and maybe help you find your audience maybe a little bit better, maybe. In
the year of our Lord, will be 2026 when this comes out. I think we could all stand to just examine, why are we writing what we're writing? And we can you can write it for fun, and you don't have to be making a big statement or anything like that. But I do think just being a little bit more aware of why you're writing what you're writing harms nobody. And if you want them to fuck nasty as girls, make them fuck nasty as girls. That's the fucking title. It's not. No, it's YouTube will kill us. No, you can't make that the title. No. I didn't ask you though, Sandra. Is this is it a gib? Is it a hard pass? Are you here with it? Like, you just
like I said, when I first came across it, I was kind of like, what is this? And then I think I realized that I do like it. I won't say that like as soon as I see it, I'm like, oh, I've got to read it. But it doesn't put me by any means off. It maybe intrigues me more as to, again, what is it about? You know what I mean? Like, so I think with my, like the Palo Alto verse, I really just enjoyed the growth of their relationship in it too. And like how
it's a very good verse, work
with each other. And so I mean, I like that. But then the Like a Dolphin's Belly, that was just a really sexy fic. You know, it was just written really well, and it was just like right in there, like when it came to that, and it was short and sweet. Not that I'm gonna I need to read every fic like that, but it doesn't I won't turn that away. It just kind of like intrigues me. I like the magical part of it, you know, like I feel, again, Supernatural gives you all these moments to play, and sometimes I like it when there's witchiness involved, but I do really like the Always a Girl Sam ones that I've read. I haven't really read one that I don't like. So, like I said, it'd be interesting to test the Dean theory on
I've
this.
sent you some.
Great.
You're so welcome. Would you write it yourself? I don't know what the hell happened to my accent. Then I'm so sorry.
I don't know. I don't know if I've ever.
A new challenge for Sandra and Kasey, maybe, because she keeps talking about fucking drabbles of 100 words, and we'll have less of that.
I don't think you could. Could you do that in a? See, I feel like you'd need to have more.
No, you need
introspection in that kind of a story, but maybe not. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
we could
never
write
say
something
never.
cracky.
Never say never.
Never say never. I'm doing everything I can, because the last time that we talked about Kasey and Sandra and Kasey challenges, she started hopping on about drabbles.
I just don't know what yet. Yeah,
not for that life. So God, think of another challenge for us. Write always female Dean, Sandra. Good Lord.
Let me read some of them first to get an idea as to where people are coming from with this before I would like.
I don't know. There's a part of me that wants you to go in blind. There's a part of me that wants you to go, okay, characterize your Dean, and you have such a beautiful Dean voice. Like, as an author, your author voice for Dean is beautiful. Make him a girl. Sandra's like, oh, what did you do this to me right now, Case? What?
We'll see. 2026, we're just getting started, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens by the end of the year. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, so I mean, this was, I don't know, I found this one interesting to like dig into and like think back to, I guess, my fanfic reading journey as well. And I think that we will, I guess, see what the next one is. Maybe it'll be something that Discord recs. I don't know. We'll see. There's more on the list, so we'll see what happens. But for now, we're going to wrap up this episode, and we want to thank you for listening and let us know what you thought of the episode and the recs that you'll get a chance to look into. You can email us at idlingintheimpala@gmail.com. You can comment on Spotify, leave a YouTube comment, join our Discord, and chat with fellow idlers and us in real time. Check out our merch store, which is another fun way to show your support. You can find details for everything on our website. That's idlingintheimpala.com. Want to fuel our supernatural road trip? Consider supporting us on Ko-fi. We have perks to go along with different membership tiers, and would love to have you along for the ride. Speaking of perks, we've got special shout-outs for some of our Ko-fi members. From our Shotgun Picks the Music tier, we've got Runaway Dreamer, Crowley's Mistress, Sam and Dean 76, Elia, Charlie, and Just Whispering Fantasies. Thank you for picking the tunes in the car. Support like yours keeps our podcast going. Thank you. Don't forget, you can always support us for free by liking, commenting, subscribing on YouTube, and following, rating, sharing on audio platforms. Engagement like that really helps us with the algorithms. All hail their benevolence. As always, we have the causes we support in the description. So from me, you have LGBTQ plus talking charities. From Sandra, you have mental health charities. And of course, the main causes we are always highlighting, championing, spotlighting are World Central Kitchen and Doctors Without Borders. If you want to know more about these causes, why we're supporting them, what they mean to us, check out idlingintheimpala.com. There's a page there called Causes Cause with all the details. So with that, we will say thank you for joining us in the backseat, and we will see you next time, guys. Bye-bye. Bye.